Hey everyone, it's Jesse. Here's my audience for my Module 6 speech. Boom, got Damien, I got Shan listening in. So we're going to set that up. Good afternoon everyone. Thank you guys for taking time to listen to me speak today. And today I want to talk about environmental policy making. And I think it's a pretty pressing issue considering the fact that the storms that hit Southeast Michigan in June cost the region over $1.8 billion in damages. And so the reason environmental policy making is important is because with poor policy making, people could die and lose their homes. It's financially inefficient, and the problem will only get worse if no action is taken. The purpose of my speech today is to just try and paint a picture of what the climate crisis is like right now and advocate for support for environmentally conscientious policymaking. So according to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, over 50% of the United States coastline is vulnerable to sea rise. And despite that, climate change has brought sea levels up by 2 to 3 centimeters already, and is expected to rise by 2 to 3 meters by 2100. And still, the United States continues to develop its coastal regions, as the 50-kilometer strip of land surrounding the Gulf and Atlantic coast is some of the most densely populated housing area in the United States. And it went from around 4 million housing units in the 1940s to over 27 million housing units today. And another prime example of this development of the coast is New York City. New York City is home to some of the most valuable real estate in the world, with over $100 billion of property at risk. And when Hurricane Sandy came through the region in 2012, it caused over $60 billion worth of damages, and 88,000 buildings were flooded and 43 people died. And so after all the damage was done, a couple weeks, couple months, couple cleanups, couple FEMA bailouts, everything went back to normal, and they just rebuilt the region as normal. And that's super financially inefficient because these disasters will happen again. And so the efforts done to mitigate the damages caused by this severe weather is really shallow, and it's only good for the now and not later. And one example is the National Flood Insurance Program. The National Flood Insurance Program was created in 1968 and was made mandatory in 1973 for anyone who had a federally backed mortgage who lived in an area that was considered at risk for a 100-year flood. And these 100-year floods are intense, but as the planet warms, these storms are only going to get more intense. And in the 1960s, the United States averaged about 16 natural disasters a year, and in the 2010 decade, we averaged about 56 natural disasters a year. And this isn't all Hurricane Sandys and Katrinas, but flooding similar to what we just experienced. And each of these disasters can cost upwards of $1 billion a year to fix. And some other examples of poor mitigation is FEMA has already given one county in Virginia over $11 billion to raise their houses to help fight the sea rise. But when the sea rises so much, the roads and all the other infrastructure will be rendered useless, and then all these properties will be useless. And this happens all over in all these coastal regions, whether it's New York City, whether it's the West Coast, whether it's Florida, New Orleans. All these places continue to develop and get redeveloped when they get destroyed, and more valuable infrastructure is being placed there every day. And if we don't do anything, the problem will only get worse, and power lines in Texas will keep melting, we'll keep flooding in Michigan, New York City will be underwater, California will continue to be on fire, and with your guys' help, we can advocate for environmentally conscientious policymaking and help make a difference. And thank you guys for listening. I appreciate it. Do you guys have any questions? No questions? Awesome. Thank you guys so much. You guys rock.